second night in a row, gunfire rang out tonight in the city of Chester. 2 people were killed last night, and a life hangs in the balance tonight.
An innocent young boy is the most recent victim. NBC 10's Drew Smith has our coverage from Chester.
Police did make an arrest in another killing this weekend. They say Miguel Moreno shot 23-year-old Tishawn Malloy several times. That just hours after a separate murder on Highland Avenue. The carnage brings Chester's homicides up to 20 for the year, well ahead of the previous year's tallies at this time. 8 of the killings have come in the past 8 weeks. A summer of shooting that began with a teenager dying walking to the last day of school.
Report on tonight. First, authorities coming before the cameras a short time ago near Philadelphia, revealing some residents of a senior living facility are still unaccounted for tonight.
Police asking for a mass casualty box with many additional ambulances.
More than 400 emergency workers scrambling through the night to save the elderly resident. Many couldn't escape on the road. Blanket-wrapped patients loaded onto school buses. The road crowded with wheelchairs and beds.
A chase, a crash, and a carjacking. A wild scene in Upper Darby, and hundreds of children saw it happen. When it was all over, a 6-year-old little girl and her grandmother were seriously hurt. Good evening, I'm Dawn Timoney.
And I'm Joyce Evans. What started as an effort to get dirt bikes off Philadelphia streets crossed into Delaware County, and that's where it nearly turned deadly.
New overnight, NBC 10 is first to bring you the sounds of the shooting while our cameras were rolling at the scene you see here. Here's the story. We were covering a man who was wounded on Logan Way around midnight when shots were fired just 1 block away. Take a listen. First, you heard the shots, and then you heard the police cars give chase. The photographer who captured this moment left his camera on the ground while he ducked for safety. We're working to find out more about the condition of the man who was shot at the first scene near Logan.
Tonight, police in Upper Darby are investigating a home invasion where they say a woman was assaulted. Eyewitness News on the scene on Clover Lane. Just before 3 o'clock today, police responded to a home there for a report of a home invasion and assault.
To breaking news out of Delaware County. In the past few minutes, a woman says she was tied up inside her own home.
Here at home, an update now on a story NBC 10 was first to report. A Delaware County mother is out of the hospital tonight. She was tied up, held at gunpoint after 2 men tricked their way into her home.
Tia Slanger was so alarmed he called 911 twice and told them to hurry. Police checked around back where they believe the men ran away, while the woman walked to the ambulance that took her to the hospital. You can see the keys were still in the deadbolt. The men didn't get in by force.
Doctor took over the box here. She let him in. They tied her up here.
4 Philadelphia nuns remain in critical condition tonight after a head-on car crash in Delaware County.
Authorities say the nuns were driving in that oncoming lane and were hit head-on by the vehicle that crossed over the road's double yellow line.
Police say a 21-year-old man drove into oncoming traffic around 7 o'clock Sunday night and hit the nun's vehicle head-on. Right now, 6 nuns are critically hurt after a car wreck in Delaware County. Firefighters came to the rescue, and so did 2 Santas.
4 nuns, sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth, were hit head-on by a young guy who crossed over into opposing traffic. Firefighters were no longer in Christmas mode, even though Santa, who knows a lot about fighting fires in Bethel Township, he was there on the scene with them.
Take a look at these pictures this morning. They show the aftermath of the crash into a Dunkin' Donuts. This happened after midnight in the 2600 block of Egypt Road in Montgomery County. No one was hurt. Police are trying to figure out what caused this crash.
But what happened last night on the 2300 block of West Huntington Street has left 9 people in the hospital, 2 remain in critical condition. Police say someone walked up to a corner where a group of young people ages 17 to 26 were hanging out and shot them. Tonight, the suspect is dead, and his father wants to know why. Good evening, and thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Dawn Timoney.
And I'm Ian Page. It all started in Philadelphia's King Sessing neighborhood and ended in Newcastle, Delaware. It's a story with a lot of pieces. Bullets started flying around 2:15 this morning after cops say a fight started on the 7100 block of Germantown Avenue. One of the people shot is a bartender at the bar.
Tonight in Delaware County, a 15-year-old boy is dead and 2 other teenagers are hurt after a drive-by shooting.
Residents in Havertown, Delaware County are stunned tonight after a popular restaurant burned down. Barnaby's sports bar and restaurant on the 1900 block of Westchester Pike became engulfed in flames around 5:30 this morning.
Breaking news, deadly shooting on Drexel's campus. Police say a stranger who tried to break up a couple's quarrel shot and killed one of them overnight.
This breaking news we're following this morning. Police are investigating a shooting at a gas station in Delaware County.
Around midnight, when bullets started flying at the Sunoco gas station, it's on the corner of Edgemont Avenue and East 22nd Street in Chester, a gunman started shooting at someone who was parked here at the Sunoco gas station. The person was hit, and so was the car multiple times all over the front, side, and back. The windows also shattered by the ammo.
That we're following. A 13-year-old boy is under arrest after police in Delaware County say he stabbed someone in the ear. This happened yesterday afternoon around 5 o'clock. Upper Darby police responded to a large street fight at the intersection of Keystone Avenue and Westchester Pike. If you know the area, you know it's right across the street from the police station. A few minutes later, officers got a call about a stabbing a few blocks away. The victim, who was stabbed in the ear, is expected to be okay.
Gunfire is almost a daily occurrence, but tonight, our Bruce Gordon reports help may be on the way. He is live outside of Chester Police Headquarters. Bruce, what a terrifying weekend for people in Chester.
Saturday night, Robinson was on the phone when she heard the all-too-familiar sound of gunfire from behind the connected twin home next door.
It's like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh my God.
Chester's outmanned police force is soon expected to get some help. Fox 29 has learned an announcement could come this week that Pennsylvania State Police will bolster the local patrol during the summer months. They've done it before with some success.
I'm Denise Nakano. Tonight, as we're hearing more from Jenna Burley.
Our neighbor says the night of a Temple graduate student's murder was worse than a horror movie.
We're learning new details in the brutal death of Jenna Burley. She was killed in North Philly. Her body later found in the Pocono. And our team coverage continues with NBC 10's Drew Smith live in the Breaking News Center with more on the man accused of the murder.
We also spoke to people who knew the 29-year-old from where he lived in Philadelphia near Temple. One man told us Huffingers lied a lot about his past and where he was from. But then he tried claiming he was on a football team, and then I'm like, there's no way this kid's on the football team. When I found out that he personally was involved, it was just like a red flag. You never know what people are capable of.
In Phoenixville are investigating a shooting that sent a 9th grader to the hospital. This happened in the parking lot of the Dunkin' Donuts on Nutt Road around 7 tonight. That victim was rushed to Phoenixville Hospital and is now in serious condition. Officials at Phoenixville Area High School say the school will be open tomorrow as a place for students and staff to come together.
Right now at 11, escaping the flames. Tonight, the fire forced neighbors from their homes and out into the cold. Good evening, I'm Keith Jones. Specialists had captured the flames shooting from this apartment complex in Brookhaven, Delaware County.
These two neighbors were feet away from the building. Once the fire was out, firefighters combed through the smoky haze of the damaged apartments. Furniture and other belongings were thrown out.
Investigators were out for several hours this morning collecting evidence. According to the Delaware County DA, the victim told police that he was sleeping when someone came in and shot him in the mouth. The bullet exited through his face, and he was able to walk himself to an ambulance and tell police what happened.
Apparently he is sleeping in the living room floor on a mattress. So that's when he claims that the perpetrator came in the front door and shot him in the face. However, everything's under review at this point in time.
Nick shows us how first responders had to slide a stretcher out of the window to rescue the resident. Take a look. L&I was called to the 3100 block of Fontaine Street. This happening just before 5 o'clock tonight. They requested immediate assistance. You can see why.
Shantae Lands is live in Darby Township with more on this frightening incident. Shantae.
Well, Nicole and Yuki, police say this has never happened in this town, and for that reason, they're trying to catch everyone who's responsible.
It's going to be at gunpoint. The driver's going to be the Amazon delivery driver.
A female subcontracted Amazon delivery driver was kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint.
It stands to reason that Christmas time is a very busy time for Amazon and for the people who deliver Amazon packages to your home. Unfortunately, it is also a busy time for thieves who target Amazon delivery drivers, and police in Darby Township are trying to track down just such a group of bandits.
A woman driver tells police she knew something was up when she noticed she was being followed about a mile away.
Made a call to the boss. Eventually, they cut her off and jumped out, put a gun to her,
and took some boxes from the truck.
What's unclear is how the men knew the woman in the U-Haul was making deliveries for Amazon.
The only thing she could remember, because she was visibly shaken, was that it was a dark vehicle.
A chaotic scene around 1:30 on 69th Street in Upper Darby. Off their feet, into the air, the grandmother dazed. A little 6-year-old girl more seriously hurt as people rushed to help.
She was unresponsive, and then there was an adult who was responsive, so I concentrated on the little girl. There was also a nurse on scene helping her.
What witnesses say the motorcycle driver did next is even more shocking.
He immediately jumped off the bike, tried to get into a car that was next in line in front of him, didn't get open the door. The car sped away. He was hanging onto the side of the car. I am not kidding. It was like a movie.
Police say the motorcyclist carjacked the driver in front of him at knife point while the car was...
There's blood everywhere, yeah. The driver was all banged up, and there was one girl bleeding out of her face pretty bad.
Search is on for a gunman who opened fire on a basketball court in Chester, Delaware County.
It happened at 22nd Street and Edgemont Avenue just after 11 last night. You can see one of the bullets went through this window. Luckily, no one was hurt.
Happening right now, there's going to be a constantly in Pennsylvania. What the man is going to say, I'm going to be shot. Recent high school grad.
Another car, a red pickup truck, merged in at the same time, and a man in the red pickup truck pulled out a gun and shot her in the head, killing her. This is now a murder case for that man who fired this shot. Turn yourself in now. Every second you are out there, you are only making this worse for yourself and worse for this young lady's family. At approximately 2 o'clock this morning, the defendant, through his attorney, turned himself in. 28-year-old David Desper turned himself in to the West Goshen Police and the Chester County Detective, placed under arrest for first-degree murder, third-degree murder, possession of the instrument of crime, recklessly endangering other people.
Major break this morning in the apparent road rage killing of this teenage girl.
Turn yourself in now. Every second you are out there, you are only making this worse for yourself.
And no word yet on whether that suspect has been found or even identified. Investigators, though, have scheduled a news conference for later this morning where they're expected to reveal new details about that case and the hunt for the alleged killer.
To that fatal road rage incident that happened in Pennsylvania, it left a teenage girl dead, and the suspect is now behind bars after turning himself in.
Less than that road rage killing that made national headlines. An 18-year-old girl preparing for college, gunned down on the highway outside of Philadelphia. Tonight, a suspect is behind bars, facing multiple charges, including first-degree murder.
The man authorities say mercilessly shot and killed 18-year-old Bianca Roberson in a fit of road rage is in custody tonight. Authorities say David Desper turned himself in overnight as they were closing in on him.
The West Goshen Police Department and Chester County detectives were not going to give up.
Delaware County, meantime, are trying to figure out how a young boy was shot by a stray bullet last night.
10 o'clock Saturday night, police respond to a shooting in Chester. It's the second one of the night. This time, though, stray bullets pierced through a home along Township Line Road. An 11-year-old boy is shot in the stomach.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yuki Washington. The deadly shooting and other gunfire prompted a lockdown at nearby Chester High School.
The city of Chester reeling from a morning of violence that began with a Chester High School student being shot and killed.
From all accounts, good kid, goes to the high school, was a football player from what I understand.
Authorities believe the 16-year-old high school football player was simply walking along 11th Street on his way to school.
This is a horrendous loss of life. This is devastating that a 16-year-old child could be walking to his high school and be gunned down.
20-year-old Cosmo DiNardo was taken into custody yesterday on an unrelated weapons charge. The FBI joined state and local law enforcement officers to search his family's property. The 4 missing men are 18 to 22 years old. They were last seen Wednesday through Friday of last week.
Law enforcement is focused on this large property in Solebury, about 30 miles north of Philadelphia. It belongs to the family of 20-year-old Cosmo DiNardo.
I'm Matt Weintraub, Bucks County District Attorney. I'm here to make an announcement about a significant development in the investigation that you've all been following so patiently, so diligently. We have found human remains in an approximately 12.5-foot deep common grave.
Revealing details in a bizarre murder case out of Pennsylvania. 2 cousins have been charged with killing 4 young men after allegedly luring them into a rural area under the pretense of a drug deal.
As I stand here today, I have in my hand some paperwork that has now been officially filed of record, charging 2 men with the murder of those 4 young men that I just spoke about. Cosmo DiNardo has been charged with the murder of Mr. Finicaro, Mr. Mayo, Mr. Sturgis, and Mr. Patrick. Sean Kratz has been charged with the murders of Mr. Finicaro, Mr. Mayo, and Mr. Sturgis.
I then asked Andrea if what she was saying really happened. Her response was that it had not happened, but she could say it happened and file charges, file a civil suit, get the money, go to school and open up a business. Andrea and I never discussed the matter again. And then I learned she went to the authorities and claimed that Bill Cosby had drugged and sexual assaulted her. I wasn't shocked since this was exactly what Andrea said she could do, and so she did it. I, Marguerite Jackson, state that the foregoing statement of one page is true and correct. I am giving this statement freely and voluntarily. No one has threatened or intimidated me to provide the statement, nor have I been offered a reward. Marguerite Jackson, November 20th, 2016. And they would not let this woman be our witness on behalf of Mr. Cosby on yesterday.
They are struggling to reach a unanimous decision in this case. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Natasha Brown, in for Yuki tonight.
I'm Jessica D. Jurors are hung up on all 3 felony charges.
There could, that the minor inconsistent statements or statements that even if you didn't believe that happened, even if you believed that something was false, you could still believe the person or the witness who gave testimony. Or you could disbelieve based on one statement that you did not believe was true. But even if you find an inconsistent statement, that doesn't mean that you must find that a person was not credible. You could still find that person credible.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on this busy Saturday. I'm Cecilia Vega, in for Tom Llamas. We begin tonight with that breaking news in the Bill Cosby sexual assault case. A hung jury, the judge declaring a mistrial after jurors made it clear they could not overcome their deadlock.
And we just want to say, hey, thank you to YC. Thank you, YC, because y'all represent the truth. And hopefully one day we will have Mr. Cosby to sit down with YC.
That would be amazing.
We'll try to make that happen.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Hey, it's our social media person.
Oh my gosh, I love y'all. She does everything. Bill Cosby, Insta, Twitter, Facebook.
Listen, and before I start doing that, I start doing my own research, and the fact that another media outlet was actually telling the truth.